The security camera in sublevel B2 showed a man standing in the hallway, staring directly into the lens. Only problem was, that hallway had been sealed for 3 years. Mark Alvarez had taken the graveyard security shift at Grayson Tower because he wanted silence. After a failed marriage and the unresolved trauma that pushed him out of the police force, isolation suited him. The job was simple: sit at the lobby desk, monitor cameras, and walk the lower floors of a decaying corporate tower now under slow renovation. It paid enough to keep him fed and alone. The first few nights were uneventful: empty hallways, flickering lights, and the smell of dust and old concrete. Then came Thursday. Around 2:46 a.m., Mark was nodding off with a lukewarm cup of coffee when camera 29 flickered. It was focused on sublevel B2, a hallway that hadn't seen a human footprint since a water main burst and flooded it years ago. Yet there, standing in front of the lens, was a man. Soaked, pale, in a faded gray uniform, he stared directly into the camera. His mouth moved, slowly forming a name, Mark's name. Then the feed cut to static. Chilled, Mark checked the logs. No one should have been in B2. His radio crackled with silence. His phone froze. No signal. The elevator refused to descend past B1. So, with flashlight in one hand and old instincts in the other, he took the emergency stairwell down. As he descended into the lower levels, the building seemed to shift. The fluorescent lights faded floor by floor. When he reached the bottom, the lights had stopped altogether and a wet metallic smell clung to the air. The flashlight barely worked. He told himself it was just an electrical failure. The corridor of B2 was worse than he'd imagined, walls weeping moisture, mold creeping up from the baseboards. But someone had been there. Fresh, wet footprints tracked along the hallway, right up to the camera. The same one that had shown the man staring earlier. Now it was dead. Then came a tapping sound. Not from behind, not from ahead, from above. He looked up to see a pale hand, long-fingered, almost skeletal, pressed flat to the ceiling before retreating silently into the darkness. Mark unholstered his gun. A voice, faint and broken, echoed from nowhere and everywhere. "You never looked, you never helped him." The flashlight stuttered. Heart pounding, he edged forward, finding a half-rotted door hanging open. Inside was a room filled with rusted server racks. In a child's drawing, yellowed and damp, 2 stick figures beneath red crayon rain. One wore a badge. The taller figure was labeled Daddy, the other, Eddie. His son, gone 10 years now. A custody fight, a bad night, raised voices, and then Eddie vanished. No one ever found him. Mark had always claimed he didn't know where the boy had gone, but seeing that drawing ripped a scab he thought had scarred over. He backed out of the room, only to find the hallway gone, walls twisted, lights bleeding red. Then came the footsteps. He turned, gun raised, and came face to face with the man from the camera. But it wasn't just a man. It was him. Or rather, a version of himself, withered, angry, soaked in guilt. "You left him," the double hissed. "You drank, you cursed, he cried, and you let him go." Mark shouted in denial, but deep down, he knew. He had let the boy run out into the night without following. He told the police he searched, but he hadn't. Not really. Then came a whisper. "Daddy?" Mark ran. The hallway contorted behind him. The tower howled. His feet found a glowing exit door, but beyond it wasn't stairs. It was Eddie's bedroom, a soft blue glow, stars and planets on the walls, and in the corner, curled up and silent, was a small figure. He dropped to his knees. "I didn't know where you went," he sobbed. "I didn't know." A small voice replied, "You never looked." And the room collapsed into blackness. The next morning, the day shift guard arrived to find Mark's chair empty, his coffee untouched, no sign of a struggle, just the flickering monitors. Camera 29, once dark, was now back online. And on the screen, a man stood in the hallway of B2, soaked in water, eyes wide, staring into the lens. He mouthed a name, the guard's name. Afterward, the tower was shuttered. Reports emerged of workers seeing long-lost loved ones, hearing voices in the stairwell. Camera footage showed different names spoken depending on who watched. The footage couldn't be explained. Neither could the disappearances. They say, late at night, if you stare long enough at the security feed in the lobby, someone might begin to stare back. And if you watch too long, they'll start saying your name.